What's going on, everybody? Chap MMA back with another video. Today, we're going to be breaking down the top prospects to be looking out for in 2025. It is 2025. You know, lots of great prospects. This was hard. This was a hard list to make, but there's a lot of guys that you can put in here. But we're going to be going from the smallest division to the biggest division, of course. So from flyweight to heavyweight, I'm going to be giving you guys one or two prospects that I think you guys should be looking out for in 2025. I'm trying to get some guys that aren't noticed too much and trying to bring them into the spotlight for you guys. So let's just get straight into it with flyweight. I'm starting off with Joshua Van. I think Joshua Van is going to be an amazing fighter coming into 2025. He just broke into the rankings at number 15. I think it's well deserved, man. He's a young kid. He's small. He's great in the weight class. He's very small for flyweight, which is surprising, but he's been doing well. His boxing is crisp. This guy's got amazing boxing. Joshua Van has such nice, clean boxing, and he's just a really fun fighter. Every single fight he's throwing hands. He had one of the fights of the year with Edgar Chairez. It was a great fight. He's throwing hands, he's throwing bombs, and I think he's going to be super fun in 2025. I think he'll move up the rankings. I think we could see him, in 10 or even higher. In flyweight, I could see him getting up there. He just needs a few more fights, and he could be getting himself into title contention. It would take a little bit, but I do see Joshua Van moving up the rankings in 2025. I think he's a guy to look out for. I think a lot of people already like Joshua Van, but he's not somebody that's too recognized, and not enough people are giving him credit. So I think we got to give Joshua Van some credit. I think we're gonna see him, become a great fighter in 2025. He's still got lots of time to evolve as a fighter. He's young. I think he's in his mid 20s. He might be even younger. So he's got a lot of potential. So Joshua Van is my flyweight pick. I think he's going to be a great fighter in 2025. Moving on to bantamweight, I got Ayman Zahabi. This is super underrated one, man. I don't think Ayman Zahabi gets enough credit. He absolutely beat down Pedro Munhoz for 3 rounds. Dominant boxing as well. Very, very crisp boxing. He's powerful. He does a lot of damage on the feet, and he knows how to stuff takedowns very well. Ayman Zahabi is a very well-rounded fighter. I think he's going to be great in bantamweight in 2025. I think he'll be able to move up the rankings right now. I think he's sitting at number 13, and it's well-deserved, man. He's on a 5-fight win streak right now at bantamweight, and he just keeps getting better. He keeps getting better. He is getting up there in age. I think he's 35 or so, 35, 36, but he just seems to keep getting better as his age progresses. So, I'm excited to see him fight some more top ranked bantamweights and see how he matches up against them. I think he wouldn't have a fun fight with Jose Aldo. Maybe Jose Aldo. I think he'd beat down Mario Batista. Man, I think he'd get Batista out of there. Yeah, this is a guy that I think can do damage in bantamweight. I think he can stand and bang with a lot of these guys that are high up in the rankings. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Ayman Zahabi in 2025. I hope to see him a bit more active and not just fight on the Canada cards, but we'll see how it plays out. I think in 2025, Ayman Zahabi will get a step up in competition, and I think he's going to prove that he deserves to be where he is and he deserves to be ranked right now, and he'll crack up into the top 10 and he'll be a contender for sure. So that I got Ayman Zahabi at bantamweight, and we'll move on to featherweight. Though for featherweight, I got Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal, man, got kicked out of the UFC not that long ago and just got brought back a couple of years ago. I think a year, no, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, he got brought back, and he's had a few dominant wins, man, dominant wins back to back to back. So Yusuf Zalal's looked amazing. He took a little time off. He went to fight in the regional scene, get a couple wins, and he's really proven that he's upped his skill level by a lot. And he's one of the few guys who's survived. Ilia Topuria, who is the champ at featherweight right now, and Yusuf Zalal's looked great. He's looked great. Nasty finishes. He's amazing on the ground. His submission game is great, and his striking just keeps getting better. So I think in 2025, Yusuf Zalal will crack into the rankings. I think he'll definitely get ranked at least 15th, if not higher. So he's definitely a prospect to look out for. But I do have an honorable mention for featherweight, and that is Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson, man, he's got a bit of a weird build. I'll give him that. He's got a bit of a weird build. A lot of people kind of question him, but yo, he got questioned in his last fight against Fernando Padilla. I questioned him in that fight, and I thought Padilla could have pulled off the upset, but because the odds were getting real close. But Sean Woodson showed that he's the man, and he's gonna get ranked featherweight in 2025, I believe. He's a weird kind of build and weight. Not weight. He's a weird kind of build and height for featherweight. He's about 6'1", and but he's lengthy. He's a sniper. That's why they call him the sniper. And I think he's gonna be a fun fighter. I don't know if he'll ever become a title challenger, but I think he'll become a fun prospect to watch out for in 2025. I think he'll get into the rankings and he'll fight some top guys, and it'll be real fun to see him matched up against some of these guys in featherweight. So, well, that's done with featherweight. Move on to lightweight. I got Fares Ziam, the Smile Killer. What is it? Smile Face Killer. I don't know. I think that's his nickname. But Fares Ziam, man, I think he's been doing great recently. I think he's been doing great. And he just got a nasty finish over Matt Frivola in France, in Paris. Amazing finish. Fares Ziam has been looking real good, and he's getting really close to the rankings. I think 2025 will be his year. If he gets active, he does a couple fights in 2025, I think he'll crack into the rankings as well. He's been super duper fun to watch, and he just had that nasty finish. So you got to give this guy a little bit of a shot. Give him a top 15 guy. Let's get it. Let's just get it. Resiam's been super fun to watch. His striking's great. He's a great dynamic striker, and he's tall and lengthy for the division, which is good. In lightweight, you love to see it. And he's got power. He's got very underrated power, as we saw against Matt Frivola. Very underrated power, man. He hurt Matt in many moments, and I think he's going to be good in lightweight. Lightweight's a very competitive division, though, so it will be interesting to see if he can compete with the top guys. But I think Fares Ziam's very focused. He seems like a very focused guy, and he just seems ready for the rankings. Seriously, so give Fares Ziam to somebody in the bottom of the rankings, somebody fun. But he's definitely a prospect to look out for. Very underrated prospect, honestly. Of course he had the flashy moment with Matt Frivola, but not many people knew him before that, and I think he does deserve some credit. So Fares Ziam is gonna be an interesting one in 2025. But we're gonna be moving on to welterweight, where I got one of my favorite fighters of the year, Oban Elliott, brother. Oban Elliott, brother. This man has been nasty in 2024. He had an amazing 2024. Just got into the UFC. 3 wins in a row in 2024. Super active fighter. You love to see it, man. One of the best. First years for a fighter has been Oban Elliott, especially in 2024. If it weren't for Carlos Prates, man, I would have to pick Oban Elliott as the prospect of 2024, the prospect of the year. Nasty knockout last fight against Basil Hafez. Nasty right hand. Good shit by Oban Elliott, man. And 2 dominant performances, 2 dominant decisions back to back before that. This man's looked good. He's looked good. He keeps getting better, and he's looking like a force at welterweight. Honestly, he looks pretty dominant at welterweight. I was gonna go with Carlos Prates, man, but I'm trying to find some guys that aren't getting as much hype behind him. Carlos Prates, of course, he's got a hype train behind him right now. Understandable reasons. He's an amazing fighter as well, but you got to look at Oban Elliott, man. He's done amazing in 2024. Amazing in 2024, and he's still young. He's still improving, and he's coming for it, man. He's coming for the rankings in 2025. Couple more wins and he's gonna get ranked. You love to see it. I think this guy definitely has some stuff to prove. He wants to prove it, and the Welsh gangster, brother, the Welsh gangster. We'll see him in the rankings soon. I already know it. Let's go, brother. Come on. So we'll move on though. Welterweight from welterweight. What do I got next? I got middleweight. Middleweight, we got a funny one, boys. We got Rainer de Ritter. This, I think I'm gonna get some hate for this, but Rainer de Ritter, all right, underrated, all right. I already know everybody's gonna be clowning me. This is jokes, but hear me out. Rainer de Ritter is gonna submit Kevin Holland. I believe it. I fully believe it. He's gonna submit him in some weird, awkward way, and he's gonna be gassed out after the submission. He's gonna go crazy for 3 rounds and get the submission at the end of the 3rd round. But Rainer de Ritter, man, he's in the UFC. Just fought GM3, submitted GM3 with his own choke, and was basically passed out after he submitted him. But nonetheless, I think the Ritter, man. I think the Ritter, he's gonna have a good year. I don't ever see the Ritter challenging for the title. But But at the same time, imagine RDR versus DDP, KO. Autism versus autism, tism versus tism, RDR versus DDP. That fight would be amazing. That fight would be tism matchup of the lifetime, man. That would be the best matchup ever, honestly. But I'm just fucking around. This is it's a hit or miss with Rainer the Ritter. We'll see how it plays out with Kevin Holland, but I think he can do it. I think he could have a good year. I think he's a prospect to look out for. Um, Coming into the UFC, he's a little bit goofy. He's a goofy guy, but that's the thing. Those goofy styles, they catch people off guard. Like that's why DDP's champ. That's why he's gonna beat Sean Strickland, man, because he's got a goofy, awkward style. And it's like, how do you really counter that? You don't know what he's gonna throw. Like, I don't think RDR knew what he was gonna do with GM3 the entire fight. The entire fight, he was just throwing and he was just holding on. He's bringing it to the mat. He didn't know his next step, man. He didn't have a game plan, and that's how you know these guys are gonna get away with a win. So, I'm going with RDR. I think he could be a good prospect in 2025. We'll see how it goes though. It's a little iffy one, but I do have an honorable mention, which is Abu Magomedov. I'm very solid on Abu Magomedov, man. I do feel pretty solid about him. I know he lost to Sean Strickland pretty bad not that long ago. He's a bit of a quitter, a little bit, but I do think he's gonna have a bounce back year. I think he's gonna have a good year if he's active. He needs to be active. But he had a nice finish over. I'm pretty sure that's Bruno Ferreira. I forget his name, but he had a nice finish in his last one. I picked Abu in that fight as well. A lot of people doubt him. I understand, but I think he seems like he's a lot more disciplined. He seems a lot more focused on the task at hand, and I think he could potentially get ranked in 2025. So yeah, I'd like to see Abu Magomedov fight a bit more though, and pick up some more wins, and I think he'll get ranked for sure because this guy is very well rounded. I think he's a lot more well rounded now than when he fought Sean Strickland. He can take it to the ground. He's got that submission game, which is very good, and his striking is even better now. His cardio doesn't seem to be lacking too hard anymore. When he fought Strickland, his cardio was very bad, and he just got picked apart on the feet. So he's better now. He's definitely grown as a fighter, and I think in 2025 he'll do well. That's an honorable mention though. But we'll be moving on to light heavyweight, where I got one. Uh, it's he's an underrated one, man. I gotta give it to him. Azamat Mirzakhanov, he's underrated. Don't underrate Mirzakhanov, man. Seriously. Like at light heavyweight, the only guy that I see as a prospect, like I was looking at the prospects and I was looking at everybody in light heavyweight and I was looking at guys outside the rankings. I was like, what is this, man? Light heavyweight is kind of cooked outside the rankings. I'm gonna be completely honest. Outside the rankings, it's kind of cooked. But we got Azamat Mirzakhanov, and I think this guy is gonna have a big leap in 2025 if he fights more. He only fights once a year. I think he's fought twice in the past 2 years, which is just it's not good. Of course, we need to see him fight more, but his skills are very underrated, man. Skills are very underrated. He is undefeated. People forget he's undefeated. All right. He may have a funky dad bod. And he might have a receding hairline, which I think he buzzed off. But come on, man. Don't underrate Azamat Mirzakhanov. I think in 2025 could be his year. I think he could easily pop up in the rankings and get up into the top 10. And I think he could give some people some problems. I don't know if he could really contend against Alex Pereira, but I could easily see him beating a lot of the top 10, top 5 guys even. Uh, he's very underrated. I just got to give him that. He's very underrated light heavyweight. I'd love to see him fight more and break up into the top 5. I could see it happening, man. I could see it happening. But we'll move on to heavyweight where I got two. Starting off, Mick Parkin, man. Come on, Mick Parkin. I need to see Mick Parkin. I need to see Parkin get up, man. I need to see him get up in the rankings. I need to see him up in the top 10, top 5. That shit would make me happy. I'm gonna be honest, that shit would make me happy. But we can't get too ahead of ourselves, man. He could just go get fraud checked by Marcin Tybura. He is fighting Tybura, man, and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself because I was watching that Janata Deniz fight, man. Before that fight, I was like, Janata Deniz, my life on it, my life on the line. I swear to God, Janata Deniz is going to win. I was telling all my friends this shit and stuff, and I put so many bets and parlays on Janata Deniz, real shit. That cooked everything for me. That night was cooked after I watched that fight, and I was like, holy fuck, man. I was like, fuck Marcin Tybura. Um, I didn't think Unk still had it going, man. He's like 38 or 39. I did not think Unk still had it going, but he does, so I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but I think Mick Parkin, man, he could have a good career. And he's a fast heavyweight, smooth. He's got power. He trains with Tom Aspinall from the UK, man. He's good. He's very good. I think he's got a good potential. I think 2025, if he beats Marcin Tybura, he'll be up there in the top 10. I think he'll look good. I think he'll look good in the top 10. He's faster than most guys, and it's gonna be fun to see. So I really, really am praying on his. I'm praying on him to do well because I'd love to see him do well, but I'm just not gonna get too ahead of myself with this one. That's why I've got an honorable mention of Kennedy Njoku. I can never say his last name, man, but Kennedy Njoku. And I think he's great at heavyweight too. I think he's great at heavyweight. Some of these guys that light heavyweight, they just need to learn when to move up. And Kennedy learned when to move up, man. He knew exactly when to move up. Perfect move to heavyweight. Back-to-back knockouts. Good shit, Kennedy. Good stuff by him. Good stuff by him. He looks strong. He looks powerful. And he looks smooth because he was good at light heavyweight. Don't get me wrong, he was okay, but moving up to heavyweight, he just knows he's going to be faster than most guys. He's going to be faster, more mobile than most of these fat heavyweights who are all outside the rankings. And I think he'll easily be able to break into the top 15. In 2025, it should be easy stuff for Kennedy. He's fast, he's powerful, and back-to-back knockouts for him. Very good shit. I know I'm gonna see this guy in the rankings. He blasts through the top 15 easy. I think it shouldn't be too difficult for this guy. Honestly, I think he's got a pretty good ceiling on him, and I don't know if he'll ever be able to challenge for the title. Can't really tell, but I do see him doing decently well in heavyweight. Definitely a good move on his part. Some of these light heavyweights got to learn when to move up. Johnny Walker, sorry, but you got to move up, buddy. You got to move up. Volkan Ozdemir, move up. Some of these guys just move up. Learn when to move up. It's chill though. It's chill. No hard feelings, but that's the video for you boys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did agree with my picks, drop it down in the comments. If you didn't agree with my picks, drop it down in the comments. Leave who your favorite prospect in 2025 is. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you.